Mickey 17 follows a disposable man on a mission to colonize the barren ice planet Niflheim. After unwittingly signing up to be an expendable, Mickey is resurrected every time he dies. Wacky and often dark, well, mostly dark, hijinks ensue. On his 17th life, Mickey is prematurely declared dead. But when he stumbles back to his room, he finds Mickey 18 already in his bed. With multiples strictly forbidden, the two must now outwit the tyrannical expedition leaders, dodge detection, and maybe, just maybe, fight back against the system that treats them as disposable. I went into Mickey 17 knowing only two things. It was directed by Bong Joon-ho, and Robert Pattinson was the lead. So, I was pleasantly surprised at just how stacked the cast was. Steven Yeun, Mark Ruffalo, Toni Collette. It was a treat every time I got to see a new character. And even some of the actors I didn't know delivered some very strong performances. All around, the cast did a fantastic job. That said, Robert Pattinson is the clear standout. I loved his recent works in The Lighthouse and Tenet, but Mickey 17 might just be his best performance yet. His portrayal of Mickey, a meek, dim-witted but oddly endearing protagonist, adds surprising depth and charm to the character. Honestly, I'll be shocked if he doesn't land an Oscar nomination for this role at the very least. On the topic of the movie itself, it was a bit more flawed than I expected. There are some noticeable pacing and tonal inconsistency issues here and there. The movie starts out strong, and even though a lot of exposition is given via voiceover, it works since the movie itself contains way too much information to simply show us all. And we get to see the thought process behind a lot of Mickey's more questionable decisions. But then the movie screeches to a halt midway in, and I can't help but think some parts could have been cut out to trim the fat. One example would be the unnecessary romantic tension between Mickey and a side character, which ultimately doesn't go anywhere and doesn't affect the plot in a meaningful way. The premise of an expendable clone character isn't completely original, but I've never seen it being used for a black comedy, and it works well most of the time. However, there are times when the movie gets a bit too dark, and shots that are supposed to be funny just become sad. Other times, the characters react a bit too nonchalantly to situations that should be very serious, and the main villain's motivations also shift on a dime, leading to some convenient plot contrivances. Still, when Mickey 17 works, it works well.
Wait, he's alive.
I'm fine.
See you tomorrow.
As expected from a Bong Joon-ho film, class allegories are front and center. They're not exactly subtle, but that's what makes them so fun. Bong doesn't try to disguise his social commentary. Instead, he leans into it so hard that it becomes entertaining in its own right. The contrast between the colony leaders' over-the-top villainy and the genuinely horrifying things they do creates some hilariously dark moments. And as I mentioned before, the acting is top-notch. I genuinely enjoyed every character, even the douchebag best friend and the ridiculously evil antagonists. While some characters behave inconsistently, acting completely different from one moment to the next, it oddly adds to the movie's surreal tone rather than breaking immersion. Visually, the effects are fantastic, sometimes a bit too good. If you're squeamish, you might want to brace yourself or skip the movie entirely because the alien designs are extremely gross in the best and worst ways. Oh, and one little detail I loved was how there's an illegal drug people get high on in the movie and they just straight up call it Oxy. All in all, Mickey 17 undoubtedly has its flaws. If you're looking for a Parasite-esque masterpiece, you'll be disappointed. But if you're looking for a dark comedy with great acting, hilariously over-the-top villains, and a refreshing sci-fi premise, it absolutely delivers and then some. Which is why I'm giving Mickey 17 a solid 4 out of 5.
A 4 out of 5.
If it sounds like your cup of tea, you should definitely go check it out. That is it for today, and I'll see you in the next one.